No. Okay, if no, allow me to continue our topics for this week. The topic for this week is NGN Policy Challenge. Before we going to more deeper into this material, actually, what is the problem? What is the motivation why we need to talk about this topic? Actually, when the new technology comes, a new behavior appear. I mean, we should adapt to the new behavior. For example, maybe 1 decade or 2 decades ago, when the telecommunications, yeah, still using analog or even still using voice and SMS. The primary communication is using voice and SMS. When we use telepon rumah or home telephony, yeah, we communicate using voice. And then the evolution take place. There was a cellular telephone, and the behavior changed. At the first of telecommunication era, when we want to make a phone, we need to stay in certain place at home or in wartel, yeah, in certain point, and then we dial the phone, and then we can communicate to each other. But when the cellular phone comes, the behavior of communication changes. We no need to being nomaden or staying at the same place in certain period of time when we are make a communication, when we make a call, but rather than we can move, make a mobility, so we can still making call uh, uh, from a car, from train, for example, from public transportations, or even when we are walking, yeah, we can still receive the phone call. That's the technology of cellular. And at the beginning, also the the broadcasting media like a televisions, they are different entity, means that they are works in different field of communication, which we call as a broadcasting area, yeah, broadcasting. And there are different company like for example TVRI, yeah, SCTV, Indosiar. They are a different company. And the another is for communication like cellular or uh, the telephone rumah. They are also different company. So in that time, the regulator, in this case is government uh, has a task to regulate, to manage, to organize how the service delivered uh, to the community, to the people, yeah, to the uh, to the customer. Uh, for example, for broadcasting media, the government regulates, manage uh, how the broadcasting service should be delivered. And in this point, government create a new is like undang-undang, yeah, or regulations, and the representation of these regulations like some KPI, not KPI, KPI, Komisi Penyiaran Indonesia. That's the regulation body that's manage or regulate the broadcasting uh, media, yeah, media broadcasting. Move forward to the telecommunications regulatory. Also, the government should set up new regulation body or new institutions. In this case, is belong to the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. There is one direction, no, directional Directorate General. I forget in English, but there is a Directorate General, Dirjen, that regulates the telecommunications field. How the company, I mean the telecommunication company, should provide a telecommunication service to the user, to the society, to the community. So that's kind of uh, uh, example in our daily life, in our how to say, in our when we are enjoying the service. And maybe some of you are asking why the regulatory are important here. Yeah, why the regulation is are important, because when a company deliver a service to the user, there is some quality. Yeah, so in this case, allow me to a bit explain about this. When a company or provider, yeah, or provider provider or telecommunication provider deliver service to the user, in this case like us as a subscriber, there is some quality that should be maintained. Quality of service, the quality of service that should be maintained. For example, this quality of service is bandwidth, yeah, bandwidth, correct, and the latency, for example, latency, and maybe speed for download, yeah, speed for download. Yeah, this kind of parameter that should be maintained, should be keep in certain value, in certain parameter for delivering service to the user. Yes, so the user can enjoy, can can how to say, yeah, can enjoy, can how to say, puas lah gitu ya, not disappointed. Yeah. Why? And then why those parameter or this KOS should be maintained? Because the user already pay for the service. Usually, from the perspective of user, the user is not really knows about this parameter, not really care about this parameter. I believe that some of you maybe when enjoying or watching the the video streaming, maybe some of you only care about the lag, the smoothness of the video, synchronization between the image and the voice, something like that. But in the performance parameter, those kind of experience we call as bandwidth, latency, speed download, etc. And what is the problem when the user receive, yeah, receive bad service, bad service constantly. In this situation, the user already pay, but maybe because of certain condition, maybe of limited infrastructure, you are living in the remote area, and then you are lack of good infrastructure, and then implication of this, you receive a bad service like a slow download, big latency, narrow bandwidth, and etc. This bad service, how to appeal? How to appeal? How to appeal? You Can you appeal directly to the provider? No, because your money already used for buying the service. You cannot appeal directly to the provider. Maybe after 1 month, maybe you will cut off maybe you shift to another provider. It is that's kind of action that you can do. But once you pay, you cannot, how to say, remove this service. Yeah, I mean your money cannot return. Yeah, in this case, your money that you have paid cannot return to you, even you had a bad service. So to anticipate this kind of situations, governments uh, government is required. Government, this role of government is to protect the right of the user, and by giving an this order represented as a rule. Yeah, a rule. In terms of service, telecommunication service, this rule is determined by KPI. This KPI is not Komisi Penyiaran Indonesia, ya, but in this term KPI is Key Performance Indicator. Okay. This Key Performance Indicator is similar to the KOS. One of the component or one of the aspect is KOS. Means that in the KPI should be mentioned that, for example, the bandwidth that delivered to the user minimum maybe 2 megabit per second. For example, that should be mentioned in the KPI. This KPI is an agreement between a telecommunication provider and government KPI. And not only bandwidth, but latency, speed, and so on and so on. This KPI should be maintained by the provider once they deliver the service to the user. I hope that's the relation between the provider, user, and government. Government in this case as a regulator to regulate how should the service provided to the provides to the user. So I hope you got the point that why we need to discuss why the topic of policy is important, yeah, when we talking new technology or new service, something like that. Okay, is there any question? Is there any question? No.
No, sir. I think it's still good.
Okay, good. And then move forward to the NGN in NGN technology. uh, this is a new technology that will deliver new service, new platform of service, yeah, new service to the user. There are many aspects that change from the legacy technology to the NGN. In the previous week and the last week, we already discussed in terms of technology, what kind of the technology, what kind of service that change from the traditional or legacy to the new NGN, the NGN service. And the new service, the new technology that delivered to the user should be accompanied by new policy. New policy, yes. You remember that in the traditional or legacy, for example, for instance, that telecommunication and broadcasting service are different, are different, and that this needs a different regulation, and also for the broadcasting different regulation. But in NGN, the both service can be delivered in the one network, one facility. Yeah, for example, you can make a call using your smartphone. You can watch television using smartphone. You can SMS using smartphone. You can watch video streaming using smartphone. So from this perspective, it's like that the telecommunication and the broadcasting service are delivered using same network. Yes. And then the question is, the current or the existing regulation, is it still relevant to current condition? That's the topic that we want to discuss today. Okay. Ngn Policy challenge means that we need to, how to say, in which aspect that we need to update the regulation or even change or even remove the regulations. Okay. Referring to the principle of global information infrastructure development, this is the principle how the information infrastructure should be developed. It's like a reference, yeah, how the in terms of nations, how to develop, how to build the telecommunication service, information exchange, and so on. First is availability and diffusion of high-speed infrastructure. Yeah. Uh, this is the is like apa ya? Something that will happen. Yeah, means that uh, like need of high bandwidth, high throughput, high data rate. Many service require higher and higher data rate. Yeah, for example, maybe in the 5 years ago, uh, you are how to say uh, enjoy enough to watch the movie with maybe F VGA standard. But currently, I think nobody will be uh, enjoy with the video with VGA standard. I think nobody currently will satisfy with the maybe analog televisions. Currently, everybody needs a high definition video, a clear voice, immersive uh, audio, video experience, something like that. Those kind of applications require more and more data rate, more and more bandwidth. So the high speed infrastructure is absolutely important, and their availability is really demanding. And I believe that maybe most of you, I believe that in at home uh, install the fiber optic, yeah, for enjoying the multimedia entertainment, of course. And then the second case, grow and development of multimedia service. This is really related. This is kind of motivation. This is kind of uh, that driven this high-speed infrastructure. Grow and development all multimedia services. Yeah, not only voice, not only watching television with high definition, but maybe currently we are can access like a virtual to say virtual reality, something like that. Maybe in the 5 years will come the 3D or hologram interaction, yeah, interaction. Maybe in 3 years ago, 3 or 2 years ago, I forgot. I have been invited by XL. At the time, XL launched the 5G service. I mean trial, yeah, trial of 5G service. The application that been shown at that time is 3D video interaction. So at that time there is somebody calls, but not using the face, yeah, face communication or something like that, but using a 3D projection, so we can see the another our opposite communication. I mean, uh, the somebody that we call, can we can see their presence, her or his presence in using 3D hologram, something like that. And those application is require high data rate, high bandwidth. And also move forward to the third statement, fair access and use of infrastructure for both customer and service provider. Yeah, fair access and use. Yeah, if there is infrastructure has been built, so it is important to guarantee that everybody can access in term of, yeah, certain condition, this infrastructure, something like that, not only for the customer but also the provider. For example, building or development fiber optic backbone in a certain country requires a lot of infestation. So sometimes this the might be huge cost cannot be afforded by service provider. So in this case, the government provide a funding to build the backbone network, and then everybody can use using a certain regulations to deliver the content, to provide a communication service, and so on. And the fourth sentence here, uh, interconnection and interoperability of infrastructure and services. Yeah, this is important. Interconnection, what does it mean of interconnection? Interconnection is the how to say in bahasa is penyambungan, ya, is connection, interconnection, interconnection between among or between two providers, for example between XL and Telkomsel. If I want to call somebody's XL provider, in this case I'm the Telkomsel subscriber, Telkomsel user, and maybe Adrian, you are the XL user, yeah, as XL user. So I want to call Adrian in this case, and then uh, in this case Telkomsel should connect to the XL network, right? And this connection is should be clear. I mean, who need to pay? In this case, me or Adrian should pay this interconnections. Who want to pay? And because this is a different company, this is a different network. So this regulation, this agreement, it should be clear. Something like that. And interoperability, it's related to the device infrastructure. It's mean that, for example, you have a different vendor like a Huawei, and then some other company use Nokia infrastructure, Nokia. They should they should be able to communicate. I mean, in that's the meaning of interoperability, means that they can operate, yeah, they can operate together, support each other and connected connect the service, connect the subscriber, something like that. Okay. The next point, I want to talk about the services in NGN. You can see here, as I mentioned before, that there are many services that can be delivered using NGN, and then you can use only one device to enjoy many service. As I mentioned before, that your smartphone currently can be used for enjoying voice, phone call, internet, video, broadcasting, etc. And this phone, this in this case, a smartphone, access network. Access network is the network that used for access, used for uh yeah, it's like how to say, connect or uh, in plug into the network. For example, like this. In telecommunications, yeah, particularly, we can divide the network, telecommunication network, into two types. It's access network and the core network. The access network responsible for connection between user and to the network. So this is user, yeah, user, maybe this is company, something like this, and this is BTS, or access point. In more general, we can call a access point. And then this access point should be connected to the core network. Core network. Actually, the physical representation of core network is just server, yeah, server, something like this. Server. This server responsible for make a switching, yeah, switching connected to another BTS, something like this. This is BTS, yeah. Yeah, this responsible to connect. Also, the core network responsible to manage charging, something like that. Charging, yeah, or recording, yeah, recording and etc. So in this case, the access network is interface, yeah, there is a network or there is interfacing between user and the company. You can see here the BTS, yeah, BTS or access point Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is access network. And for the core network, usually this is the server, something like that. I hope it is clear. So what happened in the NGN? Since the service use same network, you can see here the voice internet broadcasting using same network, even the access and core network. Hence, the network can be regulated in such a way that there is no reference to the content carry on the networks. Yeah, so it is no need to regulate. Yeah, the network refer to the content. Yeah. Please remember at the legacy regulator that for example KPI, Komisi Penyiaran at that time regulates the content as well as for the network, as well as for the network. That's is a combination. But currently KPI should regulate only for the content, yeah, content. No need again to the network. Not network is should be regulated into different body or institutions, something like that. So again, the point is the regulations is no need to refer to the content carry, yeah, but yeah, no need to refer to the content, but independent. This network regulated using different perspective. Regulation of the communication should be undertaken by a single regulatory body. So in this case, in terms of communication, should be regulated by a single regulatory body, something like this. Okay. Okay. Move forward to this one. So focus on the regulation, the past and existing. There are many regulatory body. For example, the spectrum allocation body, broadcast regulator, telecommunication regulator. In the NGN era, there should be work together and become transform into a single body. Yeah, it's only about the network or telecommunication network. There is a content neutrality, yeah, because not refer to the content that they carry. Okay. And okay, let's talk more about the economic regulation. Maybe some of you, I'm the engineering boy, I'm the engineering guy. No need to talk about the economy regulation. No, no. You should know it, yeah. Uh, as you know that maybe even they are maybe economic doesn't know uh, about the engineering and technical, but they keep the money and using their money, and then they regulate or they organize the engineer. That should be point out, yeah. uh, so in this case, the government should take into account about the economic uh, aspect. Why the economic it should be maintained? Because it's how to say, it can, how to say, it can maintain the infestations environment, or they can maintain, or they can keep the economy works. When the economic works and the service can be delivered, something like that. Because if if we are a provider, again, if we are a company, as a company, the motivation that they deliver the service is not only provide a good service. The purpose is not only provide a good service, but they also has a motivation to get a more money. I mean the benefit, yeah, in terms of money. The company want to invest if they predict or they estimate that they want have a benefit. That this very much logical, yeah. If the infestation is not so beneficial, and then the company will not provide the service. In this case, like a Telkomsel or XL or Indosat, they will not provide a communication service if they will be maybe bankrupt. So in the estimation, they should take a benefit. In this case, is they should take yeah, more money. Yeah, something like that. So and in another side, from the perspective of user, they want enjoy the service with a low price. Yeah, this is economic principle. Uh, and how to balance those different perspective. The provider wants a high return, and the user wants a low price. And these contradictions, it should be maintained by the regulator. You can see the regulator. For example, the NGN, yeah, NGN require the ideal NGN require a lot of what to say of fiber optic fiber connections like FTTH, fiber to the home. But in reality, infestation or deploying the FTTH into the subscriber, it is a lot of infestation. Invest, yeah, lot of money to be invest. And the provider should calculate, yeah, calculate. It is a possible, or is there any benefit? I mean, it will be provide a gain. I mean, yeah, something like that. After invest a lot of fiber optic connections. Yeah. Uh, in this case, regulation should be take the role. Maybe yeah, they should provide. I mean, the provider should provide this FTTH network in certain percent, something like that, some certain degree, something like that. Yeah. So back to this slide, competition is the main tool to develop effective access and foster innovation, investment, and consumer benefit in communication market. Yeah. The first things is competition between provider, maybe Telkomsel, yeah, Excel, yeah, Excel. This competition can develop to effective access and foster innovation. Yeah, by competition. So, for example, competition to gain a new user, competition to provide a good service, something like that. Those kind of competition can give benefit to the user. But again, a bad competition also can deteriorate the service. or can make a dangerous, can dangerous the company. For example, in the several maybe several years ago, there is a perang tarif. Maybe you are experienced about that perang tarif between Telkomsel, XL, and Indosat. They are trying to provide a low price service for communications, for calling and SMS. Maybe they give a very much bonus or something like that. If you send one SMS, then you are able to send multiple SMS at free, something like that. Or even, yeah, give the price of pulse with very low price. This condition is not always good in terms of company, because once a company decreasing the price of the product, means that the return or the what we can call gain or the profit also decrease. And when the profit decrease, uh, uh, the company cannot uh, fuel cannot fuel the innovations, cannot increase the quality of service. Yeah, for example, cannot upgrade the device. Maybe the server cannot upgrade uh, the BTS, something like that, because of very low profit, or even not profit. Yeah. So this kind of situation also can be dangerous for company. So in this case, regulators should be present in this case to regulate, to keep that the company is healthy, in healthy condition in terms of financial uh, financial conditions or financial status. And then how to regulate the competition, and then provider, or I mean the regulator should provide a rule or regulation to regulate maybe minimum price for the pulse. Yeah. It's like maybe this kind of situation is like our uh, 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 plan service, ya, like at the time Garuda, Air Asia, and Citylink. At the time there is a perang harga, price war, to provide lowest price as possible to get a new customer, or to get the customer. And this condition is not good at the time, because it's similar analogy when the company get a low profit, and then they cannot replace maybe bad device, then the quality decrease. And it's in aviation, of course, decreasing quality or decreasing standard, this is a very dangerous condition, because it's related to the safety. Yeah. Okay, the next statement, facility-based competition, means that the operator are encouraged to provide a good network to gain user. Yes, of course. The third, to ensure that all customer of a service provider have contact with all other subscriber, interconnection policy are necessary. Yes. And network unbundling policy, where the network user pay at cost. Means that, like in the current condition, that we are pay for telecommunication service at cost at for example, we buy a certain amount of data, and then we pay only for that, and then if we require more, and then we can pay again for the service, for increasing the volume of data. And then the last one, in incentives to provider that develop internet broadband network to boost growth in broadband subscriber. Yeah, this is one way from the regulator, for example, to the provider that builds internet broadband service or internet broadband network to the user. Maybe they can maybe get the tax incentive, something like that. Okay, and then okay, the NGN in terms of access network, and in terms of access network. Okay, please keep your mind that we are talking in the network at the access network. First, since the NGN require a high bandwidth capacity, the available access technology includes FTTH, 4G, 5G, and so on. However, this access technology like fiber to the home are only available in the dense population area, in the big city, yeah, in the metropolitan area. Yeah, it is very logical because maybe you are know that maybe the FTTH like in the home is only available in the big city, even in the city lah, in the city. If we go to the remote area, there is no fiber to the home, very rare. And even for 4G, 5G, for the wireless access here also is limited, still limited in the city. So what is the impact of this? The bad impact of this, because the access divide, only people that live in the city that can access a broadband technology or NGN technology, NGN services. To those who are living in the remote area, there are lack of NGN infrastructure. And then why? And then what next? This situations, this situation will which we call as a NGN divide, means that NGN divide people into two conditions: to those who can access the NGN service and to those are not. From the figure, this is the graph happened in France at 2007. You can see the y-axis, this is the bandwidth potential. I mean the bandwidth of the network. Yeah. And the x-axis coming from the left side to the right side, this is the representing the total inhabitants, I mean where the population located. Yeah, for example, this is 0% means that the only zero maybe 10%, yeah, 10% populations. Yeah, 10% population. This is 20% population, and the last one is 100 population, means that the one country. Yeah, something like that. Okay, Please take a look for this different graph here. For example, copper, yeah, copper. Copper means that copper is like telephone rumah, yeah. Telephone rumah, you can see here the telephone rumah service can be accessed in almost area. It means that this telephone rumah are provided or can be provided with all of the country, yeah, all of the country. Okay, compared to the uh compared to the FTTH1, for example here, FTTH1 means that fiber to the home, fiber to the sorry, fiber to the home, the yellow one is here, is here, is limited into only less than 40, yeah, less than 40% means that the fiber to the home one is only available all for 40% populations, and the other 60% is not yet available, yeah, is not yet available. So there is 60% population that cannot afford or cannot enjoy the fiber network, something like this. So in this condition, if we focus on the FTTH case, you can see here that there is only 40% people that can access FTTH, and there is still 60% there is no FTTH. This kind of segmentation resulting the NGN divide. That's kind of challenge in terms of government perspective. That's a realizations. I mean, this is real. Yeah, this is real. There's only certain people that can access NGN. And this is task of government to distribute the NGN service. In this case, how to distribute the FTTH to all people in the country. That's still being a homework for government. Even in Indonesia, yeah, I think the situation is almost equal. Maybe for people who can access the FTTH may be lower than this number. Yeah. Also, this is kind of how to say problem or challenge. Yeah, challenge to provide the fair communication service to all countries. Yeah, something like this. That's kind of challenge. Okay. Okay. To solve this problem, of course, infestation or investment in the fiber connection, we can call a fiberization. Yeah, it is important. Yeah, in this case, government should uh, support provider or operator to develop fiberizations, broaden the network of fiber network. So many people can access not only in the city, but maybe in the rural area, how they can access the FTTH. And then how to support, how to create like a good environment to invest this kind of fiber network. Sorry. And then in this case, government should support the way the company develop the fiber network. And going to the development of fiber network, there is a many challenge. For example, when we develop the fiber network, companies should open the way, something like that. It's like make a ducting and poles to put the fiber, and maybe we are experienced many of you seen frequently people digging the soil, put fiber network, something like that. It's happened many times, and those kind of situation require many challenge. Why? Usually when the company digging the and put the fiber, uh, they should access to like a municipal authorization, like pemerintahan setempat lah ya, in bahasa Indonesia. And sometimes that's can be a challenging to access the municipal authorizations, because a different interest, something and something, yeah. That's in this case the regulation should comes and should provide a good environment for investment, something like that. Okay. Okay, the another challenge is interconnection in the legacy network. In the interconnection is in this case, in the legacy network is switch network. NGN is IP based network. Switch network, this is how to interconnect operator where phone calls are from pays to the operator where phone calls are end. Means that, for example, I call Ervico, yeah. I'm subscriber for Telkomsel. I'm Telkomsel, and the Ervico is Indosat, for example. And then I want to call Ervico. In this case, the person that need to pay for this connection, for interconnection, is me, because we are calling the Ervico, yeah, something like that. So in this case, I have to pay the network of Indosat because I want to connect to the Indosat network. That's kind of legacy network or switch network. In the IP-based network, such situation or this situation cannot happen again, because IP network, the communication is based on the network, based on the packet, yeah, packet. The packet, my voice is then sliced being several packet, and this packet is routing to the free, yeah, routing to the internet network, and this network is really different to the switch network. This internet network can be passed through to, yeah, random, yeah, random. We cannot to say predict the direction or path of the packet packet data, this packet data. So in the IP-based network, there is another aspect that should be regulated is like peering. Yeah, here is exchange packet, paid peering, and exchange packet with third parties, something like this. And usually for the NGN, yeah, service, there is a scheme or there is a method to compute or to calculate the interconnection fee. They're using here it is using long run incremental model. Yeah, this is just for information. If you want to know about this method, you can read from the another resource. Yeah, how to model long run incremental cost, something like this. Okay, another challenge is numbering and naming and addressing. In the legacy network, the identity of us is based on the telephone number. That's why the telephone number is key resource in the legacy network, like a PSTN. Contrary, the identity in the IP addressing is a domain and IP number. IP address or IP number and domain names is key resource for internet network. Yeah. And then to exchange the telephone number and IP based addressing, ITU, International Telecommunication Union, that regulates the telecommunication services, recommends with the number of 164, which translating from telephone number into internet network addressing. For example, we have something like this telephone number, and then we can convert into the internet addressing like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the our private number or identity number, and the 555 is the usually represent the what to say company number. For example, in our in Indonesia, yeah, usually we experience maybe if 01012 is owning by Telkomsel, 00856, maybe the owner is Indosat, maybe 089, maybe is owned by Three, something like that, or Excel, something like this. This kind of numbering, and then the private number or identity number is following. Yeah, and then we can convert into this format for translation to the internet network. Okay, another aspect in the NGN is a universal service obligation. Maybe most of you, this is the first time knowing about uh, uh, USO, Universal Service Obligation. USO means that operator provide a minimum set of service which include voice or telephone service to all users regardless of their geographical location within national territory at an affordable price, even though there may be significant difference in the cost of supply. Uh, in another meaning that USO, USO is like, uh, is like what to say, in bahasa Indonesia is like a CSR, CSR ya, CSR, CSR. I forgot the CSR stand for CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility. Yeah, yeah. The name in telecommunication service we can call as universal service obligation. Yeah, it's like a CSR, CSR in CSR in common company. Means that the company should provide a several fund, yeah, uh, a certain amount of fund to to provide, yeah, to provide to the society or to the user, yeah, with certain condition, yeah. For example, you saw in America is like a discount for internet access for school and libraries. Yeah, usually school is non-profit organization as well as for the libraries. So supporting them are important. You saw in Canada and Australia by providing price subsidies for internet access in remote area too. So, people who are living in the remote area, they can access the internet access, yeah, internet services with low price. Yeah, you saw in Switzerland by giving the maximum price for the user at the remote area. This is the maximum price of €50 for unlimited internet. Yeah. User in Indonesia is managed by Bakti. You can access this website www.bakti.kominfo.id. This is the like organization for conducting telecommunication service in remote area like daerah 3T, terdepan, terluar, and tertinggal. There are many projects in the Bhakti, and this company is not non sorry, this organization is non-profit organization, but the funding is supported by the telecommunication company. Means that every year they are supplied by telecommunication company, uh, and this is just for your information. If you can works on this bhakti, you will be rich because yeah, they have a lot of money, yeah, that need a lot of money that need to be invest, yeah, need to be spent, something like this. Okay, the another challenge is efficient spectrum management. From government perspective, there are licensed and unlicensed spectrum. Maybe you are experienced with the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. Yeah, they use this technology. Use unlicensed spectrum. Unlicensed spectrum means that this spectrum is free. Government doesn't take uh, money from this spectrum. And why the spectrum should be managed, because the spectrum is one of the limited resource, yeah, limited resource. Maybe we are experienced at the junior high school. Maybe you are most of you are expert that the limited resource is like natural resource, like minyak bumi, yeah, like maybe how to say, the resource that can be renewable, cannot be renewable, as well as in the telecommunication that the resource they are limited, that cannot be renewable, is the spectrum, the frequency, the tools or medium that you can make a communication, exchange information, and so on. So most of the spectrum is licensed or honored by government. So in this case, as you know that for your information, that the telecommunication service or telecommunication company, they pay for using spectrum to the government. Maybe you are experienced with the maybe 3G, sorry, 3G works in 2.1 gigahertz, something like that. There is a 4G in 2.3 gigahertz, something like this. Maybe yeah, this spectrum is used by the company, and the company pay to the government. This is company, telecommunication company, and this is government. Okay. This is a licensed spectrum, means that to use this spectrum, yeah, we need to have a license, yeah, and to get this license, we have to pay to the government. And there is unlicensed, like 2.4, yeah, this is unlicensed. 5 gigahertz, this is unlicensed spectrum. We can use for Bluetooth, yeah, Wi-Fi. This is Wi-Fi also, something like this. And the many applications of, for example, HTTP, broadband wireless, etc., are hungry band spectrum bandwidth, require high bandwidth. So sometimes this bandwidth, this spectrum that licensed to certain companies, not enough. So they use Wi-Fi as an extension. So maybe some of you experience Wi-Fi Telkomsel. Telkomsel provided in the mall and public area. Public area, yeah. Actually, this technology to provide a higher bandwidth, something like that. Yeah, because by taking the usual spectrum, this is many people use it, and then they provided Wi-Fi through unlicensed spectrum. And the flexible spectrum assignment is demanded to improve economy efficiency in the spectrum market and boost innovation. What does it mean? So currently, before currently, I mean at the legacy technology, at the maybe 10, maybe 1 decade ago, for example, spectrum 100 megahertz is licensed to the Telkomsel for delivering 2G service. At that time, the Telkomsel cannot use this spectrum for another service, for example, 3G service. This is not allowed at that time. So in the past regulation, if you are reading documentation like there is an issue. If you read from the maybe from the news, yeah, there is IM2 case. The IM2 case, this case at that time, the Indosat provide another third parties to use the, their spectrum, yeah, or Indosat sell the spectrum to the third parties. In this case, at that time, this is how to say, melanggar hukum. Melanggar hukum is bahasa uh, to say, violating the law, yeah, violates the regulations, and that's penalty. This kind of experience, maybe the bad experience in telecommunication era in Indonesia. I mean, yeah, because of this, yeah, this regulation, uh, uh, take a penalty for some people to Indosat at that time. So in the NGN era, that's condition is should be avoided because we have to look that the spectrum is just tools, no need to dedicate to certain service. So in NGN era, it should be possible that the license spectrum to the telecom cell can be used for any service. This can be 2G, 3G, or 4G. Yeah, it should be technology neutral or service neutral. Yeah, something like that. This benefit is to improve the economy efficiency, improve the spectrum efficiency in the market, spectrum market, and boost innovations. Okay. Okay. The other aspect is about the emergency calling. So usually in the legacy technology, for emergency calling is for by dialing certain number. But this is not really challenging because it can be solved by uh, translating the destination emergency calling to the internet addressing. And there is lawful interceptions and fixed mobile convergence. Lawful interception means that at the legacy network, it is possible to government to intercept your communication. I mean, our communication. When we are calling somebody and then government can intercept our communication, we can record. Yeah, just tapping the one cable and then we can hear the communication voice. But in the internet era, the lawful interception is become challenging. The government cannot listen every packet in the internet because the internet packet it's very much random. We cannot uh, not we cannot, but we are hard to distinguish every packet come from. Yeah, and it's need high computing server to inspect each packet, something like that. If you hear current issue about the Pegasus, Pegasus is like a software application to intercept communications. This company is very, very much, how to say, yeah, clever because this kind of issue only can be break down in certain conditions, something like this. Okay, the next part is fixed mobile convergence. Means that fixed network and mobile network, in this case is telephone rumah and a cellular network, it should be converged into one network. Yeah. Uh, Theoretically, it is simple, but practically, this is also challenging because you know that uh, telephone rumah sometimes they are powerful in terms of a network. You understand that the copper wire or copper network is very large, yeah, very large, and is very well established, something like that. But the drawback of a fixed network is they are not agile. I mean, to changing the service is very difficult. For example, yeah, the copper network, like a copper wire, is very limited bandwidth. So to upgrade, it is very difficult. Conducting the broadband network through the copper wire is very limited, very limited. Yeah, as you know that the copper wire is a limited bandwidth. Yeah, compared to the mobile is very agile. You know that we already know that improvement or development mobile communication is very much impressive. The evolution from 2G, 3G, 4G, and currently 5G is very uh, rapid. Yeah, you know, maybe in 2 or 5 years coming, the 6G will come, and that's very challenging. And those two networks should be converged in terms of provide the NGN services. Okay, that's all. I think this is the end of this slide, but there is still time. Maybe some of you want to ask about this material. Please, uh, yeah, raise your hand or make a voice.
Sir, I want to ask something
Yes.
about the USO actually. Uh, in your slide about USO, it provides like a regulatory from the regulator from each country that provides minimal services into telecommunication service. So, like in the pandemic era in our country, as we all know, there are the quota from regulator, the internet quota,
Yes.
the quota. Is it also considered as USO?
I think no.
Oh,
Uh,
what is it?
yeah, as long as I know, this funding come from education ministry, not from Bhakti, from not Bhakti.
Also, it's only from the this like non-government organization.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, uh, Usually in our right now in our country, so like a telecom company conduct the CSR, or in this case is USO, and this USO fund is give to the Bhakti to provide telecommunication in daerah 3T.
Oh,
Yes, something like that. As long as I know, yeah. But as long as I know, and the subsidies quota right now that maybe we enjoy is coming from the Ministry of Education,
hmm.
something like this.
Oh, okay. So thank you for the answer.
Yes, yes. But if you have another resource that tells that also Bhakti support for Ministry Education, please let me know.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Is there any other question, please?
So I have a question.
Yes, please.
So before you gave an example for the regulating body for the content, which is KPI, right, sir?
Yes.
Are there currently any bodies that are regulating the network?
Currently,
Yeah.
yes. Actually, for the network, regulator, sorry, for the network regulator is handled by Dirjen Postal, belong to Ministry Communication and Technology, Menkominfo, something like this.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes. Currently, if I'm not mistaken, the Ministry of Communication and Technology has three dirjen, is three Directorate General. Sorry, four. I mean four, and one of them has a task for regulating the telecommunication network, something like that. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other question? Okay, if no, I have like a summary that should be conduct in group activity. So before we still have a time, I have several questions. I hope you can see here several questions, 4 questions related to this material. Please make a summary for group, group summary to answer these questions. You can conduct by group. So in this case, I will divide into two groups, and you have 30 minutes to make to answer these questions. Is that clear? So I will copy this one into WhatsApp. WhatsApp group, and then please conduct the group activity for answering this question. You have 30 minutes, yeah? Open all room. Please join.